Are you ready? Are you ready to pod it up?
Let's go. Let's have fun.
Peatcast it. This is the Simply Youth Ministry Podcast with Doug Fields,
But we are an award-winning podcast. We ought to start promoting that.
Matt McGill,
Let's soak up that awesomeness.
How great is this?
Wow.
Josh Griffin,
Just to throw it in there, not all of our shows are going to be great.
and Katie Edwards.
That's what the teens are saying.
Write in. We'll answer your email.
SYMpodcast@gmail.com.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Simply Youth Ministry Podcast. Doug Fields here with Josh Griffin, co-host.
Host.
Katie Edwards. And the magnificent fan favorite, Matt McGill.
Anchor.
The anchor, Matt McGill. We are recording on a Friday morning at 9:15 because
It feels like
Some of
9:15.
us have real ministries to do.
We
Yeah.
can hear
Can
ourselves
you
in the
hit
monitor.
the mute?
Good job, Riley.
we have our
Okay.
A radio podcast producer is in San Diego, so we've got the B team happening here with Riley, who's the creative genius at Simply Youth Ministry. Anyway, it's good to
Yes.
be together. I'm glad
It
we can
is.
do
It's
this.
so far from me. I'm gonna scoot in here.
Take that
Make
leaf
some
out of that
modifications.
table, yeah.
Yeah. When Tori was a little girl, I mean, she must have been maybe not too little.
How's it going, guys?
She's 22 years old now.
Let's say she was
I
8.
gotta say she was maybe 8 or 10. We're on a plane, and Matt pulls down his tray table. And Tori takes her hand between Matt's stomach and the tray table and does this and says, "You're not very." You're
She
not
sings a song or something.
Yeah, she starts singing a song. You're not very far from anything.
Dude.
It was like just when your beginning stages of humor, and it was very, very funny.
Love it. Well, there's a little less Matt now.
There
when
is.
that
She's
story
always
took
had good
place.
timing.
She's a very, very funny people.
Excellent timing.
I remember when she was in 9th grade, and I decided that she was funnier than me, and that was a little wounding.
Hard moment for
Yeah,
Dad.
she got to stuff quicker, and what she said was funnier than what I was thinking.
Happened to Matt when his kids were 4. So
Seriously. I mean,
That's right.
but I mean, I was funnier than you when I was 4 too.
Oh, come on.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. That's out there now.
Day that happened.
That couldn't be further from the
That's
truth.
an example of humility, kids.
Our first letter is from Johannesburg, South Africa.
Oh.
Literally is a letter.
His name is Werner.
It literally is a letter. What are you saying about that?
Tear this open.
You saying you don't
Werner.
have internet in South Africa?
Werner Serpentine.
All right.
Werner Serpentine.
Let's do it.
From Bikers
Werner?
Church. He says, "I'm Werner."
Werner.
We're
I don't know. I mean, you've been to Germany.
Yeah.
Oh, this is South Africa.
Africa. We're
It's true.
really
You know
No,
German.
far
That's-
different.
Werner, though. that's
Anyway,
a German
he's been
name.
subscribing to the youthministry.com daily for about 6 months now. It's
Oh,
like you guys
smart.
have been watching our every move. God is really amazing in that way. We're working on getting some more youth groups to start up. So encouragement for first-time leaders to take up their role is a big need for us right now.
Nice.
I'm really encouraging them to subscribe to youthministry.com as well. Thank you for what you do. It is really much appreciated. We haven't really done a youthministry.com plug in a long time.
We haven't.
Well, it's a good. We opened the show with one today, though. That's nice.
That's right. And
You know
more
what
than dodgeball.com.
That's great.
You remember last week when we had our buddy make that homeschool comment about his friend, and he thought it would, thought he was making. Sorry to bore you.
No, I'm sorry. Good
morning.
I just yawned. It's
You
9:15.
maybe you should get coffee next
I
time.
know. I'm sorry, Pete.
Yeah.
Can I take us off subject for a second?
Evan,
Do you
Sure.
think I could twist paper enough that I could stab this into Griff's eye and it would puncture it?
I have a contact to
No.
protect me. No, you can't. There's no way
I don't
you're
think
You
getting
don't
through
think
that.
so?
Nope.
Maybe if I added bat guano.
What are you
Why are we doing the show
just-
so early anyhow?
I don't know.
Why am I not at the gym right now?
I'm not bored. Let's keep
Okay,
going.
it's because of Matt. The whole thing now
Yeah,
schedules
derailed.
around Matt.
Oh, the schedule.
Matt's
Well,
so
that's
big time
great.
now.
Okay, anyway, I can't find that.
So was it another
homeschool?
homeschool bit or
No,
what?
the guy wrote back. I'll find it
Oh,
as we
okay.
get into here.
Awesome.
Anyway, this is from John Gardner, the guy who said yick.
Yeah.
All
okay,
right.
so there's no homeschool.
Well, I'll get to that.
Okay.
Sorry, I was
Okay.
premature on my part. I can't find it right now.
It's like
Okay.
an elaborate side conversation happening between Doug and his emails.
Just wanted to let you know I had a great time at the conference, blah, blah, blah. So remember the Q&A session that preceded the live podcast.
Ah.
I'm the guy who said yick.
Nice.
So allow me a moment to go through my thought process. Number 1, question comes up. Number 2, I want a freebie so bad I stand up thinking that I remember the name as I'm currently in the process of rewind. 3, name completely escapes me. This is when we asked about who was our comedy coach.
Right.
For those that haven't listened to the live podcast in where were we? Chicago.
Yeah.
We said we were giving away nice prizes before we started the live podcast, and we were going through podcast trivia. And we said, who was the name of our comedy coach in the early
Earliest episodes, yeah.
So he says, name completely escapes me. I'm standing up, brain completely gone.
Well, it doesn't escape him. It was never there to begin with.
Out of the deepest, darkest recess of my brain, a name comes up that I think I associate with the podcast. Oddly enough, that name is Yick. Yick. Y-I-C-K. Not knowing where the heck that came from, I go with it, figuring it might be memorable. Boom, Yick, silence, awkward laughter, I am undone. Okay, so where the heck did that name come from? Episode 124.
Oh,
it's
wow.
the title of the episode. Why did I remember this name in the most awkward context imaginable? I have no idea. I think my subconscious hates me. Keep up the good work, and I'll keep being awkward. John Gardner.
Is this an elaborate ploy to get a
You
nice
say
freebie or
No,
or something?
I think
Yick.
I think John's going to make his way onto the rewind wall.
All right. Well, keep working.
wow.
Keep working your way.
And I promise, sometime in the next several months, I'll update the
I was
wall.
just say the wall hasn't changed in 5 shows.
And I noticed that nobody here has volunteered to print them out.
Right.
So
I volunteered Matt last week.
I heard that.
Thank you. Yes.
this is from Emily Gaddy.
Job, golf.
That's a thank you. I'm with you on that.
Oh, the silence was a get right there.
So far, so good. Keep going.
All right.
Matt's
Here we
like,
go.
yick.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I guess I do say that.
Funny.
You do.
So much fist pounding.
Oh,
before
a lot
me.
of.
It's good
lot of
morning.
that.
Emily Gaddy. Well, too bad we weren't recording. We had some good bits before the show started.
great.
But our B team.
Yeah, so we don't want to
together.
point fingers.
It's all right,
but-
Fosh.
Yeah.
All
No, we
right.
do want to point fingers.
Yeah, we kind of do.
Emily Gaddy from Buoys,
South
Creek,
Africa.
North Carolina. My husband, the youth pastor, was listening to podcast 155 and heard this year was the year of the shirt.
Yep.
Oh, wow. We said that just 2 shows ago.
I don't remember that. Do you?
No, I don't remember that. It was supposed to be the year of contests.
Yeah.
And maybe Griff did it offhand. Like a quick throwaway comment. But I
Yeah,
don't know.
blame it
We
on
did
Eddie.
talk
Maybe
about
that
the
was when I
shirt
was
a lot
wearing.
last
What about the
week.
shirt
Yeah.
I was wearing?
Oh,
But that was
yeah.
2 episodes ago.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
that
Yeah.
blouse.
Anyway, so being the artist of the two, he tasked me with the challenge. I was not sure there was a specific theme or such to work with, but attached is what I came up with. Let me know what you think, if there's any rules or guidelines for the shirt. On a side note, I love the Marriage and Youth Ministry podcast with Doug and Kathy. Are you going to post any more of these type of podcasts? We don't really get any marriage and family questions anymore.
Really?
I don't
And when you
think
do, you just delete them randomly. So
so. No, that's not true.
I'm sure they're all printed out somewhere.
So anyway,
Well, let's
this
see it.
is
Let's
Oh,
this
like a
is
shirt design. Because maybe did we talk about doing like wearing
A
shirts?
podcast shirt?
A
oh,
podcast
that's
shirt.
pretty sweet.
I like
Are
it.
you part of the team?
I think this could be posted.
I agree.
I don't know how to do it.
You know what we should do? We should post it
You want
and
to
say
post it
make
more
your
than
own shirt.
dodgeball?
Is that hand drawn?
Yeah.
It's very talented.
Or a very early version of Photoshop.
Or clip art.
No, I say it's the best one we've ever got.
It's like
That
this
is by
clip art.
far the
Good.
best
I
one
like
I've
the
ever got.
heart in the chords of.
Yeah.
For those that can't see it on the live show or even on the dead show, it's an old
audio
school
show.
iPod with the earphone bud making a heart, and then it says inside it, "Are you part of the team?"
I like it.
And this is a weird, maybe this is a Zune because the earphone jack is plugged into the bottom.
Oh, brother.
Oh my gosh!
It's a good bit right there.
There's a purist in
a
every group.
You are a techie person. This is Serving the King, Thomas Pakovitz.
South Africa.
Serving the
You're
king.
doing really good with names today.
Thank you. Woodland Hills Christian Church. I think I'd probably do better with names in the morning. A morning show.
Yeah. This show's got a lot more energy than normal.
Oh, gobs more. Woodland Hills, is that Texas?
Cool.
I'm guessing Texas or California
I don't know. It doesn't say.
or South Africa.
I just had a quick question. You discussed the weekly calendar and the importance of it, and I really love using that tool, but would love to have the version that Matt mentioned. I tried listening to what he said 3 or 4 times and couldn't understand where I could get the program that could coordinate in my Outlook calendar to organize my schedule on the computer. Could you help by sharing where some of us could access a program that would work for those of us who love using technology?
All right.
I love technology. Movie. Go.
Do you remember that from last week?
Movie. What movie?
I love technology. Go. What is it?
Oh, what is this or the movie?
No, the
I'm
movie.
confused.
What's the movie that says I love technology? It's a song.
I have no idea.
Oh my god.
I heart technology. Right?
Napoleon Dynamite.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm a good youth worker.
But the
I
song
know.
is I heart technology.
I heart technology?
Isn't it?
No.
Well, we're going to look it up and Ryan's
I
going to play
watch
it.
a movie and
Play
I
it
forget
right
it
now.
before I'm at
Here is the
car.
thing. Remember last week you were talking about the Franklin Covey Outlook plugin.
That was one Franklin Covey Outlook plugin.
Franklin Covey. So maybe when he listened to it
Say it
3
again.
times, you were like, Franklin Covey?
Yeah,
did
well,
we
he
do
was
it?
slurring his words. He's a little,
Yeah.
little drunk
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
week. So that,
And
It's definitely a more
getting
like
things done.
version though.
David
Bigger.
Allen stuff.
Okay, so how would you, let's be more helpful.
Well, if you search getting things done, I guarantee you'll find a million things on Google.
yeah.
That are
So-
with the author.
David Allen.
And
Getting
I would
Things
Google, productivity plugin for Outlook and see what else is out there as well. Like, there's got to be a whole bunch of them. But David
There's
Allen
not.
stuff is really good.
A while ago, like a year ago, there wasn't that much great stuff.
Cool.
For Outlook,
But
but
that was a year ago, Matt. You know how fast technology changes.
I know. But plugins for Outlook don't really.
Okay, so last week we talked a little bit about the
is weird, I
old
know.
PDYM calendar deal.
I know.
Yeah.
I went and looked at it.
Well, somebody made it on
Really?
Excel and
Oh,
sent it
nice.
to me, so I have it on Excel.
Oh, that's
so
Post it
cool.
on
I'll
DougFields.com.
post it on
That's
DougFields.com
strong.
as soon as Josh shows me how. Because
Same thing as doing a picture.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay,
You just
Yeah,
do
I'll have it right
media
after the show. That's
instead
great.
of picture.
okay.
You could do it.
I will.
Can you just
you
email
are
it to me?
strong.
I'm coming along.
You are.
After
You are.
3 months
Well, you
and
know,
90 days.
You twittered the other day that you needed a technology mentor or whatever,
Yeah.
and I was just as I was
that
recovering.
stung a little bit, didn't it?
Stung a little bit because I was waking up late from having been up
See.
super late with my friend Doug Fields,
Right.
working on his blog. I read that Twitter and I went, oh,
See, that
yeah.
stung. For
I guess
me,
I
that
need a
was
friend
free.
who
I was
sees me
glad
for how I am helping him. Or
Well, maybe he just wants you to be his friend, and he doesn't want to like.
No, I want both.
I was gonna say I'm in on that.
Yeah, I
More
want
movies.
I was I found a lot of freedom in that phrase.
No, but see, here's the deal. Both of you guys have real jobs, and it's really hard to get a hold of you. And when I want something done, I want to do it now.
Well, and
I'm in a
sometimes
meeting with like
And both-
Kenton and
both of
Doug's
you
like,
are just
"Hey,
slow to
my
respond."
display settings, and I was like, dude, I'm in the middle table. I can't get up.
but in your defense, like you asked me a question yesterday, and you had it right.
Yeah,
You
You
did
just
it
lack
right.
the confidence to execute.
Kind of. I mean, it was right.
Is that really?
He was like, "Can you try these out?" And I clicked. And I'm like, "It works." Here,
Yeah, it didn't
you
work
did
with
it.
me. Oh well, it's all right.
I think you're better than you know. I agree that you need someone to bounce stuff off of, but you're pretty good at that geek
Let's
stuff.
not overstate things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, my
you
blog
need
this
help.
morning, I got up at 6:30 and checked my blog because I'm still in that.
What
Like,
is
I
that
can't
blog,
believe it
by the way?
posts.
Yeah.
When I'm asleeping. When I'm asleep.
When I'm asleep.
I'm
sleeping. I think a good song. All right.
It's DougFields.com.
Why you
Josh.
get nervous? It said it's not going to post without
Well,
you.
one time it didn't because I
Oh.
pushed the wrong button, so I'm still kind of surprised. Like,
Sure.
so I just when I wake up, I look on my phone. It's
Surprised by
posted.
joy.
But 9 comments already, and
By the
'cause
time you get up.
By the time I woke up, and it could. Well, it's a little different. It's for those listening later. Go to April 1. It's the April, and it's the title is "I wish this was an April Fool's joke," and it's a critical email, and it's just very interesting. Fired people up.
But it is good. You set your post to go at 6 in the morning because on the East Coast it's already
Yeah, East
9,
Coast time.
10,
People are in
9:30,
their
10
office.
o'clock.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I set it for 2 in the morning, so it shows up at 5.
even better.
I don't know why. Yeah. This is an interesting one. This is from Aaron Landis, youth pastor in Springfield Mennonite Church in Coopersburg, Pennsylvania. I'd be the one on the revirginated wall with the lollipop.
Oh, where'd the old lollipop go?
Lollipop.
Oh, there's lollipop right there.
Oh, yeah.
How can you miss that lollipop?
Yep.
Aaron's a handsome man, isn't he?
Yeah. Anyhow,
He's a
Yeah.
Mennonite. Is that a type of
I
metal?
didn't know that was a lollipop.
I think it was a type of suitcase.
I wish.
Hair color?
suitcase. Very funny. Very funny. You guys.
Metal, come on, that's a good one too.
No, metal's dumb.
What?
No, metal's not even close to Mennonite.
What? Adamantamite?
All right, guys, here we go.
I could really.
Give me the fifth round on that.
I could
No, I'm
use.
starting to show over.
I could use some insight into a certain situation we've been going on in our youth group. We have a 6th grade guy who's causing a lot of distraction over the last few weeks. As a side note, he is a farm boy,
Oh.
What?
and his dog just ate 14 of his chickens.
Oh.
That is
Funny to
perfectly
you and
normal.
me.
That feels
Perfectly
tragic.
normal day. Don't freak out, guys.
Funny to you and me, but devastating to him.
I find nothing funny about that.
Oh, I was laughing when I read it.
He likes KFC.
He said that now he's been
Too soon?
betrayed by both his dog and his dad, who left him and his family 3 years ago.
Holy
Well, one of
smokes.
those statements is true.
I tell you this so that you know how this guy hurts. Anyway, some of the guy leaders have taken him under our wings to the point where he feels so comfortable.
Wings, no pun intended.
Dude.
Maybe not want to use that when talking to this boy.
Oh, that's funny.
So much so that he will cut in during lessons to share his own stories. I'm okay with the distraction, doesn't throw me off, but it's starting to distract other students. I love that he feels so comfortable with it, but his actions are becoming very distracting. I've tried talking to him, but anytime I do, he feels like I'm attacking him, always on the defense. What would you guys do in this situation? Thanks for all you guys do. The conference was awesome and gave me life to what I do another year.
Well, you have the perfect built-in illustration.
Okay?
Just tell him that your lessons are like the chickens and he's being like the dog.
Next question.
Let it be
So
said, let it be written.
Yeah.
There you go.
I would just say before we
I
jump in
feel
and answer the
betrayed
question.
every time you break in.
You're reminding me of my father. Who
Find out the dog's name
Matthew.
and use it when the guy interrupts.
Yeah, seriously. You doggy?
Rover.
Spike.
The chicken.
Mennonite.
It's like when Cody was little,
Stop.
we used to say when he would be too rough with his little sister, we'd say, "She's a gentle flower. Treat her like
She's a gentle flower.
Before we jump into answering the question, I'm going to keep us on track
Which
here.
we've-
As the
which
I
host,
felt like we already did.
I would just say this. You're discovering something very beautiful about youth ministry, and that is when teenagers lose a significant adult in their life, in this case a dad. There is a father figure type of role that is assumed by the youth minister, and it is a beautiful and helpful and wonderful thing. So I would just say, before you get into how to fix this and whatever, I would say celebrate that a little bit, because you are able to, supplement a giant need in that boy's life, in that family's life. I discovered this early on with a kid named Matt in my youth group in Michigan before we came out here. And we still are in contact today. He joined the military. He's a great kid, turned out great. But his dad left him early on, and he really looked at me like a dad. I at the time didn't fully appreciate what was happening, but it was a very, very big deal, that relationship. So anyhow, that's all I want to say. Just get it started.
That's good. What I loved about your answer is you used beautiful twice.
More than twice, 3 times.
Was it 3?
Yeah.
I heard 2.
And
distinct-
one.
Well, I want to
Once.
emphasize the tenderness and
No, what it made me, it
specialness
actually
of that
made me think of
relationship.
when you put cologne on your wrist. You had a beautiful free. That was before the show. Josh was talking about he puts colognes
Right
on
here.
his
Colognes.
wrist.
So
No.
he can do this.
Yeah.
I hate you guys, just so you know.
Yeah. That's,
Why you guys? I have nothing to do with that.
Here's the other thing I would say.
I had nothing to do
I would
with
also
that.
say this.
give us some reason you hate Matt then.
Everything else. This is a great opportunity. You know this kid. He is like a son in a way to you. This is a perfect chance for him to receive some masculine correction and love that he is
Yeah.
not used to.
Yeah, that's good.
That he will respond to in an inappropriate way because he doesn't have that in his home. He's not comfortable. Great. Be the adult man.
Yeah, you can't.
Have a conversation with a little bit of strength. I think that's healthy for him.
Totally.
But out of love, and it's beautiful. Whatever.
Yeah, the kid being on the defense is not a reason
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah, good
You
point.
can't be
Gentler.
permissive.
Yeah, and
Overly permissive.
This is something that over the next few years he's going to be unpacking. So, you could spend the next 3 years trying to coddle him through, and it's not going to help. He needs to learn how
Yep.
to deal with things and be corrected, and,
Yeah.
Well, he makes the statement too that there are other male leaders that are coming alongside
Which
of
is
him.
cool
So
for it
when
to
he
be
says,
community.
I talk to him and he gets defensive, great. There's been several times where we've all done this before.
Totally.
We're like, okay, Matt, I've already talked to this kid a few times. Can you jump in and talk to him? Okay, then when Matt's done, Josh, he
Totally.
hears it from multiple voices.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
That's
Well,
important.
and just remember that someday that kid is going to grow up and turn out okay, like Matt. I mean, Matt was that kid. He was.
Matt still
killing
is that kid.
You're Matt or me?
You're
Both.
you.
Oh.
That kid is you.
No.
Yeah, you burned your house down.
You burned your house down. You killed your animals in the house, and you turned into a great man of youth pastor.
You just don't want to have the meal.
You're still a little defensive.
Very
You need a
different.
little
and
correction,
attacking.
actually, right?
When you're on top, how can you not be defensive?
It's fair. It's totally fair.
Oh gosh.
And
I just hope people know how much of a bit is happening right now from me.
Like every week.
Yeah. Gets egged on.
So here's the deal. Anytime a kid's being disruptive, you don't let any kid disrupt everything. Obviously, you got to be sensitive to his background and his context and setting, the whole bit. You've lovingly tried to correct him. It hasn't really worked. You bring other people into that role. That's all part of discipleship. Part of discipleship is discipline, and you got to play that role. Mark Cox from Indian Springs Baptist Church outside of Little Rock, Arkansas.
like Mark.
Arkansas.
Couple questions, Doug. What lessons have you learned as a youth ministry volunteer in the last year that you wished you knew as a youth pastor?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Oh, and every lesson you learn is going to be a slam against Josh.
I'll give you one. I'll give you one that Josh and I talked about the other night at Denny's. Can I say this, Josh?
I think so. I don't remember.
Does it involve perfume?
I hate you now. I
already-
officially hate you.
But
can of worms
because
was
you guys
already
just shook
opened.
hands, it's on you now.
Exactly. You now smell good. You now smell like eternity from hell.
Josh and I, the other night, we went out and hung out at Denny's.
Working
and-
on his computer. But he needs a friend
Computer
who.
mentoring. Now, where was the computer plugged in at?
Nice callback to last week.
That was
Cracker
impressive.
So we're at Denny's, and I said to Josh, it was something we were talking about, something about what I was doing with my small group on Saturday night, because I took my small group last Saturday night of ninth grade boys to an MMA gym, and I put them inside one of those rings,
Octagon.
So fun.
Oh,
Yeah,
they went crazy.
The picture was awesome.
They went crazy. They wrestled, and it was. it
Did
was
you
awesome.
wrestle? Or did you just...
I talked to a couple of the dads. I invited some of the dads too.
Oh, that's cool.
You looked really
Yeah.
sporty. You had on like some sports
It was
stuff.
Saturday,
I was like,
and I
all
was
right, good.
yeah.
Yeah. I thought you might wrestle.
Nah, the one kid
Take
I can
on
take.
Joker.
The one little kid that I know I could take. He's a wrestler.
Yeah, you don't want to be thrown down by a freshman.
No,
guy,
my thing is I can still take a ninth grade girl.
Wah, wah.
So anyway, we're talking about Saturday, and my small group activity conflicted with dodgeball that was happening at the church. So I lost some of my guys to the dodgeball deal, but I didn't know dodgeball was happening. And so I said, one of the things that I've learned as a volunteer is how important communication is. Because when I was youth pastor, you put it on the calendar, you're thinking about it, you're planning it. It's of course everybody knows that it's Saturday night.
Right,
But
we so know about it as the youth pastor that we just assume. It's all we think about.
And I get a weekly. Josh does a great job at sending a weekly email out to his volunteers, but it wasn't on that. So because I haven't been speaking the last few weeks in HSM on the weekends, I haven't heard announcements, so I didn't know. And so that's what we were just talking about. That one of the things that I've learned is that, I'm kind of an outsider of the main hub of information now.
Right.
And how important, if you want your people to be on the team, how important it is. One other deal is our small groups got a chance to vote whether we wanted to meet for 4 weeks at the church property. Josh had this great idea where if you want, it's up to you, you can bring your small group to the church, and there's going to be some doctrinal teaching from one of our pastors who teaches doctrine. It was really good, crowded, a whole bit. A nice response. But we voted as a youth group because I was told it's going to be 4 weeks on the book of Revelation. which, you've heard me say a million times. Kids want to know sex and end times. So my kids were like, Revelation, oh yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
And it was great for me. It gave me a 4-week break. It wasn't at my house anymore. I didn't have to prep. It was a nice 4-week break. But somewhere midstream, the leadership, Josh and the guy teaching, changed it from Revelation to kind of just doctrine in general.
and end with Revelation.
Yeah, and so there was 1 week on Revelation. So my 9th grade kids were kind of
bait and
disappointed.
switch.
But I didn't know, so I'm
idea.
off, I'm sitting at the table and they're looking at me going, I thought this was going to be on end times. I thought this was going to be on Revelation. I'm like, yeah, I did.
It will be eventually. Just hang on.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because, like,
Key
the
part
kill
of the
ball,
end times
the
is
dodgeball.
waiting. You gotta wait.
Yeah, he'll come quickly, but it's been a while. So, and we did put, for example, kill ball on our blog, and it was on our Facebook wall, but it wasn't really kind of hand delivered to people, which is our primary vehicle. We didn't have it in there. That's fair. And then.
So Doug could just sign up for email updates if he wanted to.
No, I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
no,
I'm just saying we did 2 of 3, but we need to do all of them.
Yeah.
And parent, we didn't do a parent. We should have done.
That's the weird thing with communication, though, is I feel like with our volunteer teams, you still have to you've got to do like 4 different types of communication
totally.
every time. And when you miss one, you miss a chunk of your people. Like, I still have people who want to get hard copy stuff every once in a while. They want to
We've
get
got
like
volunteers that have been serving for 15 years.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Definitely. And it's some of them they aren't on Facebook. I have some that are
right.
in that category that
Yeah.
emails about as technology as they are, but then are younger. So it's just it's crazy how many avenues you really have to communicate.
And it is impossible to over communicate. It really is. I have never seen or been a part of a ministry that over communicates. Even as a church, whatever, you can't.
Yeah. Well, and
So-
your strategies, you've chosen not to meet with your volunteers very often, which as a volunteer, I actually kind of appreciate not going to another meeting. But
it's one
But
form.
I could see that, every volunteer fills out a little card that says, here's the 4 ways we communicate: email, Facebook,
Right.
whatever. About check which ones you're currently getting,
Totally.
turn it into you, and you guys go, oh, okay. And
This is where
and
people
it
are
could be
listening.
I think there's part of it is some volunteers who aren't on Facebook should be, and
Totally.
maybe they don't even know. I'm
About
on.
making that an expectation for volunteers.
Well, I'm on Facebook, but
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen the HSM Facebook page.
Yeah.
And last time I went to the blog, it seems like it hadn't been updated in a long
Yeah.
time. So I'm like, oh, maybe it's not real active.
Totally.
But maybe it is now. So.
Totally. Right. Well, and I think we definitely go through seasons of different tools that work and some don't. And
Yeah.
but we
But
need
I
to
think
pick and
that
choose and then focus
Going
on
back to Mark's question, that is one of the things that I've learned, kind of going from the inside to a little bit of the outside, is that how important communication is, and how many times I've violated that, just assuming people knew, because it was such a big deal to me.
right here for us.
Yeah.
And then volunteers, it's here.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
and the more volunteers you have, the more that gets spread out. If you only have 2
Definitely.
volunteers, you're in contact with them all the time.
Right.
Right.
Doing live.
You're
talking, hanging,
texting every
coffee.
day,
Yeah.
or whatever.
So anyway, that's just
That's
one.
good. Thank you,
Yeah,
Mark.
there's
Thoughts?
probably 99 thoughts that I could come up
Oh.
with, but
99 thoughts from the volunteer perspective.
I don't know.
Interesting. I'll co-write that with you.
Okay. I've been taking our students to ready-made summer camps.
Cool.
So with student life, big stuff, etc., every summer. But I'm considering what it would be like to do our own camp. I know it's a lot more work. My question is this: financially, is it cheaper or more expensive? To give some context, the camps that I take my students to cost a little over $300 per student, and I charge $400 to cover food, transportation. I really have a vision to do our own camp, and I'm excited about it, but I also don't have the funds to make it happen. I don't want that to get in the way, though, just looking for some insight. It's a really good question, and it's one we've faced many times.
His observation about it being more work is absolutely and totally true.
Yeah, you
Well,
It
can't.
is 100
And
times
more expensive.
Yeah, well, he didn't know what cheaper, more expensive. Well, you mean to do your own camp? It's more expensive?
I think it is.
Oh, I don't think so. I
It
go.
depends.
It depends. I mean, it depends on where you're going and what you're doing and the length of time.
Depends
But
if Griff's running the camp or
you
not.
know,
It is, then
Well,
it'll be
part of
cheaper
it-
and more
yeah,
expensive at the same
but
time.
we have a chunk of money in our budget that
Yeah.
offsets like leader cost, and like we could not incorporate the
subsidize camp a
entire
little bit,
cost
yeah.
of camp into the kid
But let's
cost.
say you don't have anything in the budget.
Right.
Part of the problem, though, is with other camps, you're paying for their overhead.
Right, their staff,
which
their
we don't
office
have.
help,
So
their everything,
when
yeah.
Matt and I were running a bunch of kids to Mexicali with Azusa Pacific University, we realized that of the 200
Great
bucks,
experience to
200
go
bucks
with
we
Azusa.
were paying per kid, that what we were really getting for that was about $30 worth of food.
Right.
And
Right.
and after a while, when you start seeing how much money, the more kids we took, how much money we were paying Azusa.
Yeah.
And so there came a point where we said, we could do this on our own at a higher quality for the same cost. And we did.
Less cost, actually. We did.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
actually
less
did it
cost.
for less cost.
We actually did probably a better camp
Yeah.
for less cost, but it was a ton of work.
That I think that
So,
cannot be underscored.
I
enough.
would say if you're a smaller youth ministry, go to somebody else's, let them do all the work. You be the relational giant.
Yeah.
Love on your kids. Okay, so they don't sing the songs that you would have chose. And yes, maybe you wouldn't have given that talk.
Right.
You know, you make some concessions there, but
all
you
the other
can't-
wins.
You can't overestimate how much work it is to pull off your own
Yeah.
your own gig.
We're doing our own. We started last year doing our own, and it is incredible, and it is highly tailored to our kids.
Yeah.
And there's something very special about, our guys. I don't know. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But the amount of work, and it's a little cheaper. Even still, we made some corrections this year. We lost some money on camp last year. We made some corrections to make it a little more expensive, but it's still significantly cheaper than a comparable camp. But it's so much work. We have summer interns, we have staff,
it's a
and
lot
they're
of work.
all, and we've got a core now of student leaders that are helping pull off camp. I mean, it is a major undertaking.
Yeah.
Our
Awesome.
summer camp is a hybrid a little bit. Like we have a camp that we've been going to forever, and you can buy into their program, but we have kind of asked them like, hey, can we kind of choose our own speaker and maybe bring our own band and maybe add more personal elements into it, but then they run things like rec, like organized games and stuff that it's like great,
Yeah.
and just kind of, obviously the whole facility and that kind of thing. And that's been a really cool thing for us.
But you can do that because you have a larger number
Yeah,
of
but
kids.
if you were partnering with a couple of other churches
Yeah,
in your area,
absolutely.
you
Yeah.
could get exclusive, because our camp's not very large. The camp we don't take nearly as many students to camp as Griff does. So, and we've done that before where we have had a week where we've brought in 3 other churches, and the 4 of us did it together with winter camp and with summer camp.
Yeah.
So, sometimes you can find a great camp that they'll partner with you and let you personalize things,
Yeah.
but also maybe run some of the things.
Yeah.
if you don't
So
want.
really, in summary, there's pros and cons to both.
Absolutely.
Don't overestimate
The
the
work.
amount of work that goes into it.
Or the hidden costs.
Or underestimate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are some can't. I'm think this is a good opportunity for me to talk about the student leadership conference that we
Sure.
have this summer. Could you do a conference for $99 for your student leadership kids for 3 nights? Yeah, maybe. I mean,
But not forgetting the speakers that you're getting.
well, not for the experience that you're getting, but that's like, in my opinion, the cheapest student leadership camp in the country.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I saw Twitter yesterday. Somebody from Chicago was bringing 30 people. I'm very excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah, our first big registrations are all out of state.
yeah,
Like Seattle's bringing 20, and
that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's Prophet has no honor in his hometown.
No, I just think people in Southern California go. I can decide whenever.
Yeah, I got a last minute.
Yeah.
Well, this is going to be my first summer camp in 6 years, and so we're doing our own, which is a nightmare. I'm looking at because we have a small youth ministry that we shouldn't be doing it on our own. I mean, as we were talking about smaller youth ministries, but we're partnering with a couple churches. So Guttridge, who's a good friend of mine, and we all know. So we're partnering with him. We're partnering with another church that I actually haven't met them yet, but need to. But we're actually looking for probably 1 or 2 other churches that'll come and help, carry the load.
Is this the Young Life camp?
Yeah, the Young Life camp in
Arizona.
Arizona. It's
So you're renting it, putting on your own deal, or you're going?
yeah, we.
That's cool.
The
They're giving you
before
the
I got
facility.
here, the contract was signed. that we're filling up the whole thing, and I'm not sure that we can fill up the whole thing. But it's not just even filling it up; it's also just with my team to carry the load of pulling off a great.
Yeah,
Great
even though
camp.
you've invited others in to help
Still
you.
gonna be your baby.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
your.
Yeah, well, it's going to be ours together. Like Gutridge is going to help plan. This other youth pastor will have
Yeah.
a voice and stuff like that too.
But that's cool. 3 or 4
So-
churches together to pull off
Yeah.
camp, and you come up
Yeah,
with a
so if you
program
want
together.
summer
camp with other youth pastor friends.
That's
I think
cool.
it's a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a blast.
Yeah. So if anybody
Well, you
listening
can-
to
you
the
can
podcast
share the
wants to
misery,
jump
too.
in,
Totally. The good stuff and the crazy
Yeah.
stuff. You're like, oh man. I love that.
And what's totally crazy about my situation is that the senior pastor takes all the pastors out for a 1-week pastors retreat, and it's
Right
2
before.
weeks before summer camp. And
That's
it's like,
awesome.
Let's see how well you plan.
yeah.
You know what I'm going to be doing that week
You'll be
before?
all right.
Yeah.
I'm calling you and going, hey, you want to go to the movies?
Well, and
me,
you know,
and
it's-
Dolphin.
me and Griff are going to the movies.
Yes.
Yeah,
And then we're
it's
working on computer stuff.
That month is actually even crazier because it's pastors retreat, and then I have to go on vacation with our family. Like we have to do it that month because August is football month, and so it's
Life is tough.
Oh, I hate balancing that.
This is from Dusty Smith. Dusty's the one that says in show 156, my buddy Jeff Stapleton wrote in and apologized for making fun of homeschool kids because my kids are homeschooled. He says just a little backstory.
background.
We only homeschool because it was inconvenient for my wife to go to the elementary school every day at lunch to breastfeed all 3 of our kids.
I don't see why that's inconvenient.
That was
They should-
great.
They should be weaned by junior high.
Oh, that was delightful.
That is impressive.
On a more serious note, I'm trying to progressively progressively split our junior high and high school groups. Little by little, the groups are becoming separate ministries. However, on Wednesday night, our main group gathering, we have an hour and a half time slot. In that time, we worship all together, and then the high school goes in discussion groups while I teach the junior high. Then we flip and I teach the high school while junior high is in small groups. I teach 2 completely different messages back to back in an hour. Needless to say, this is killing me. I find one message is usually hands down better prepared and therefore is delivered better. My question is, we have tripled our core group from 20 to over 60 in the last few years. At what point or number of attenders can I realistically ask for a junior high minister to come alongside me? And what can I do in the interim to keep both groups going strong without killing myself? Well, I'd say first step, Dusty, do the same message.
Yeah.
Why
You
do
got
2
a
different
couple options.
messages?
That's an easy
Yeah,
one.
do the same message and just deliver it different.
A little
You know,
different, yeah.
give more illustrations or different illustrations.
Cut a
or-
little bit out of the junior high one.
Yeah,
Make it a little shorter or something.
I would
Right?
I would do the same one. Yeah, that's what I'd do.
Absolutely.
I'd figure out. I mean, junior high, high school, different audiences. Absolutely. Can they take the same essential message
Yes,
and
totally.
pare it down? Without
Well, and that
a
way,
doubt?
if you do work, if you have a screen and you made some slides or you had a
Yeah, you
graphic
can
or
just
whatever,
streamline
it
all
all
of
is the
that.
same. If
Yeah.
you're trying to do that for 2, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So you probably don't do anything, and then the quality goes. So I would say 2 options came to my mind right away. One, do the same adjusted talk, but for sure. The second one was make them completely separate, and instead of looking for a paid guy or a part-time person, whatever, ask for a key volunteer to jump in and start owning junior high. My experience with small church ministry is the higher the numbers in youth group does not equal a position right away. In fact, I would argue in a large church ministry it's the same way. Just because there are more students attending does not equal instant positions. So I would say start working on a
So
key
your
volunteer right
ministry's
away.
grown. You haven't been able to add positions.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I think there comes a point when, if I'm the senior pastor at this church and I want to keep Dusty around, we sit down and I ask some questions about how are you spending your time, tell me what's going on, I investigate what's happening in your ministry, who are your key players, and I'm beginning to offer some solutions, but I'm like, Dusty, I see the bags under your eyes, so let's think through this. How can I help you? How can I dive in and make your life easier? I mean, if it gets to the point where, Dusty's saying, well, Pastor, I need some help, then, we've looked, I mean, a lot of people say I need some help. When really, if a consultant came in, went, nah, you don't need help. You just need to stay off Facebook.
Yeah, work harder, work better.
Different,
Yeah.
you know. And so
Quit being a
maybe
slacker.
maybe there are those first steps, those walk steps before you run out and get somebody. I think key volunteers. I mean, look at Megan Hutchinson. You know, she's volunteer running a youth ministry.
Yeah.
You know, it's done all over the world. Volunteers.
Well, and to find some people that love junior high, you know, and or high school, I guess, whichever
Yeah.
one he leans more. I mean, I think they'll get excited and maybe even start recruiting people themselves, and you know, something really great
Totally.
could happen.
Do you think there is a magic number when, at this size, let's not worry about if it scales or not, but is there a magic number where you say, okay, we're at 75 students, I've got to have an admin or a part-time gal, something. Tell me, like, is there? Do you feel like there's a number?
I don't think that's the first step, is identifying a number, because depending on the church culture, the number could be 50 because that youth pastor also does children's or
Totally.
is on the
Right.
preaching team. You know,
Totally.
it's not necessarily number based. I think it's more church culture based. It's how that person manages his or her time, what stage of life they're in.
And the sad reality that no one is getting positions because the economy is down and the church
Yeah.
budgets are tight. And
Yeah, I mean, I think you know, our job as leaders anyway is equip the saints for the work of the ministry. And so, you know, part of being a good leader that we've all learned,
Totally.
it's not somebody who's just great with kids. It's somebody who can find volunteers and care for those volunteers and mentor those volunteers and bring those volunteers up. So yeah.
I did an interview with a volunteer yesterday. Great gal, seems like she'll be a good fit. But I was trying to work a new thought process in my mind as I was interviewing her, going, is she ready to disciple and mentor and be the pastor for a group of freshman girls? And just to have that perspective to go, is this the right person? You know, not just we need a warm body, we need to fill somebody in, we need to.
Thinking?
I'm only laughing because on Wednesday night, is this the right person to be? You know, I've got ninth grade guys, so we're in the back table, and my guys
And you're
are.
not sure if you're the right person.
No. Well, the guys are zoning out. The end times thing, after about, you know, ninth grade boys, after 30 minutes, they were done. And this is like a 50-minute to an hour.
What was the
teaching.
topic?
End times.
Second coming in.
Oh, so
Yeah.
you finally got to it.
Finally
and
got
it's
to
still
it.
burned out.
Well, it's just, I mean, he was talking premillennialism, you know, amillennialism, you know,
Pan-millennialism.
it was just all the different theories and stuff like that. So I had Parker, this kid named Parker next to me, who I can make laugh easy, and another kid
Parker.
named Patrick McKellips next to me, and I'm glicking. So do you know what glicking is? Where you just shoot, I can shoot spit out.
Yeah, I
And
got
so
it
I'm
too.
shooting
Love it.
spit
You're good at it.
on his back, and he keeps doing this, and he can't, and then all of a sudden he says, "Is that you?" And I go, "No, but where's the water coming from?" And so I got my whole table.
Yeah.
I got my whole table laughing at this as so then I'll wait, and I'm pretending like I'm just totally paying attention, taking notes, and then when he looks away, I'm, you know, gleek a little bit on me. And the guys are dying laughing, and
That's
I'm
awesome.
going, I am such a screw off right now. I can't believe that.
Well, youth pastor's
You've
worst
been doing
nightmare
that
right
since
now.
I was in high school. I mean,
That's true. When I'm not in charge,
if you're
it's-
not leading the meeting, it's awesome. And you know what's funny?
When you're not leading the meeting,
And
I love
I'm
it.
totally the same way. I mean,
I think
we're
everybody's the same way.
Yeah, when you're leading the meeting, you're
no,
like,
I think
guys, come
everybody at
on.
this table. I don't think everybody.
When I'm not leading, I'm totally like side noting and talking and laughing.
Yeah, but most people, if they're at something, they're checked in, and you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was checked in for a while. The first night of this 4-week deal, one kid leans over to me. I mean, Tom has been speaking for, I'm not kidding, 45 seconds. And he leans over to me and goes, I don't think I can take much more of this.
After a minute,
After less than a minute. Less than a minute.
That is so
Hilarious.
great. Oh, freshmen.
Oh, they're great.
I love
They're
it.
great. Hey, Joey Wostman. Joey is the one who sent me the Excel spreadsheet on the rolls and goals for the old school PDYM.
that will be available right after the show on DougFields.com.
No, I think what I'll do, Josh, I'll do it it'll be when people listen to it, it'll already be posted. Because I think
Absolutely.
on Monday what I'll do is post and how I use it.
And posted at 3 a.m. too.
No, 2
3?
a.m.
Ooh, that's a good
2
idea.
a.m.
Yeah.
or how you would like to use it, or how
What are you trying to say there?
I'm just trying to say, like, is golfing a realistic option for me?
Listen, Mr. Play video games until I played golf 3 times this year. Let it be known, but I would be welcome to play more. If any of you listening would like to.
I've only played once, and it was with your son in Kenya, and it was fantastic.
Well, we got invited. You and I got invited by Jason Carson.
Yeah. Are you going to go?
I'm in Orlando.
Boo. Matt, do you want to come with?
See, you guys that have direct deposits from your church salary into your bank account.
Right.
There's one of us here that actually has to work to make a living. That doesn't,
Here we go.
on
Royalties
salary.
don't get direct
Royalties
deposits?
aren't just directly deposited into your Swiss bank
Hey,
account.
let's talk all 3 of you that have got royalties.
Mogulship?
Based on royalties.
Yeah.
How many meals could you eat based on the royalties?
7.
I put a little gas in my car
Yeah.
Ron puts
based-
a little gas in your car.
with my sweet royalties.
I accidentally put 91 octane in my
I saw it
minivan
too.
last
That's
night.
funny. I could probably rent a movie from Redbox.
I
with
got
my-
a royalty check from Gospel Light the other day. $1.89.
So,
$1.89.
They
too
sold.
soon?
What did you write with gospel?
One item went on clearance, and they what?
Years ago, I wrote a book. One of my early books was "Congratulations, You're Gifted."
Oh, yeah.
Not the
Yeah,
new
you
"Congratulations,
and
You're
Burns,
Gifted," and
$1.89.
it must have been like foreign sales or something like that.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, well,
that's
people that want to
fantastic.
write and think you make a living off of writing, I tell my friends all the time, they go, I know you left Saddleback to speak and write. How's the writing going? You know what, the speaking's going a lot better. Because when I get on a plane today, tomorrow I'll come back with a paycheck. You don't do that with writing.
$1.
Here's a good one. Clayton. Clayton says, so I'm not sure if I'm a Rewind or a 00 member. I started on episode 137, but since you're handing out 00 memberships like candy, I figured I should be in on that.
Here comes the exception clause.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that.
Youth pastors see a little gap and they just run, right?
Yeah, I just thought that was good. We only gave it to one guy.
And this guy.
And precedent.
Wasn't it the 3 of us that voted?
Yeah. Let's vote for this guy.
No, he started at 137. I don't
He's not even a regular listener yet.
Yeah, that's like after I started.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Katie's been here longer than you.
Have you,
So-
have you gone
Katie
back
wall.
and have you gone back and
Well, sometimes when they reference like certain words or things, I'll go back and
yeah, but you never went back to
watch them all. No.
No, but weren't you supposed to go back and listen?
I
to
listened to 00.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. A
But
long
the
time
bet
ago.
was 0-0 and 1.
Just 00.
You have a bet on that? Outback.
It was 0-0, and you tried to add 1 to it, and she denied
Yeah.
the 1.
What?
Because 0-0 wasn't even a real show.
I mean,
1 is our real show.
Yeah.
00 is your marker point for everybody.
I suppose.
All right.
okay.
All right, well.
Questions, sympodcast@gmail.com. We've got plenty, and I actually know where they are,
That's
but
not
you
true.
can still send them in.
It's a stack of blank paper. Don't listen to them.
Josh, great to see you.
That's great to see you.
You are, based on this table, you are the most helpful with technology.
Thank you.
It used to be Matt, but
Thank you.
he's
He-
kind of abandoned
He
me.
has an iPad too, though, which instantly there's some extra
Just
credibility
because you
there.
have a toy doesn't mean.
But here's the deal with Matt.
It's a work device.
I could, if I,
yeah.
Matt's one of those guys that if I really needed him, he'd help me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd help me.
Yeah. Unless it's
Are
in
you just
August,
saying
because
that
it's football
just
season.
trying to make me feel better?
No, if I was in a real need, you'd
Totally, without a
help
doubt.
me. Katie, it's
just
always
about
great to
every
see you.
Plan
situation,
anything you
I'm there
need
to
me to
help.
plan.
I know.
But technology-wise, I'm not
No,
going to
no, I'm ahead of you.
Can you play the student leadership conference?
Yes, you are.
Just kidding. All right.
Well,
all right.
yeah.
See you next week.
Anything
it's so
else?
early, I got to stretch.
I know it is early. 9 a.m.
It's a
show.
good time.
Bring it in.
That was fun. Friday morning.
Tell me that hurt you.
Has your
I
elbow
know,
okay?
seriously.
Barely hit it.
All right.
And
Just
bye.
wood.